So again, welcome everyone. Let me share my book for us to start our study. Can you see the book?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Because last week we stopped here, item number 10. We are studying contradictions and deceptions. And then this part here is composed by questions and the answers by the Spirit's truth. So number 10. Don't the erroneous doctrines taught by certain spirits retard the progress of the true science? And then the Spirit's truth answers. You want everything to be problem-free, but you must remember that there is no such thing as a field without weeds, which must be uprooted by the farmer. These erroneous doctrines are a result of the low order of your world. I'll stop here. This is a particular characteristic of our world. We are still very much primitive as such, in the sense that we still have a lot to learn, a lot to develop. So we need lessons for us to learn. And to be able to tell, the wheat from the shaft is part of our learning process. And as has been said here, they are there. But for us to truly appreciate the wheat, we have to be able to tell, what's wheat and what is not. And it's part of the process. To spare us from this experience is actually to take from us an opportunity to learn something. So that's why we are exposed to these false doctrines. Not that they will retard our progress, but they will help us to better appreciate the teachings that come, and to be able to tell without, too much effort what is right from what is wrong. And it's typical, a characteristic of our low order world. If humans were perfect, they would accept only the truth. So we wouldn't have this problem to say, oh, is this the truth? Or accepting things that do not make sense. Errors are like fake gemstones that only a trained eye can detect. Thus, you need training to distinguish the true from the false. That's what I just said. We need training. We appreciate so much those people who can, just by looking at it from a distance, they can tell, what is what, and say, wow, it's amazing, he's gifted, and so. No, there is this effort of learning, going through this long process of being able to differentiate one from the other. So that becomes part of us. It's the same thing here regarding the teachings from the Spirit. While we're still very open to, fiction and to what is magic, and we are prone to this kind of deception. But when we start to learn, go through experiences, some of them not that pleasant, then we learn. Then we become these specialist in gemstones. Well then, erroneous doctrines have the purpose of enabling you to separate truth from error. It is a learning process, and we need, in order for us to develop, our perception and be able to separate them. Don't those who accept error hinder their own progress? If they accept error, it is because they are not yet sufficiently advanced to comprehend the truth. Yes, it is like that. Why do some people accept error? They embrace it. Sometimes they even enjoy that. Oh, that's the way I think. I like it so much. It's not that that is preventing them from developing. On the contrary, actually, they're accepting it because they are still at that level. So they still have that imperfection. They are not capable from distinguishing one from the other. So they need a lesson. They need to go through that. They need to accept them for a while and then realize that, well, that was not the truth. The consequences that it brought to them, by accepting that and so on. And then they start next time, they'll be more cautious. They'll evaluate it in a different way. Hi, Liz.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I equate life as a bit like a game of snakes and ladders. Yeah, some things you believe the truth and you go up the ladder, and then you kind of make a mistake, believe some error, and end up going down the snake. But you see, yeah, it's all lessons in discernment, because everything's lessons. And it's like watching the news. It's so full of falsehoods now. You need the discernment to know the truth from the lies. And we can only learn through getting over those obstacles, being able to have that discernment. Yeah.
It's like a vaccine,
Yeah.
It's like a vaccine. You train yourself, to respond to, the situation when it comes. And I remember some years ago that someone asked, wow, now with the internet, people are so exposed to all sorts of information. Some of them are true, some of them are not. It's going to be really hard for the generations that are coming, to, be immersed in all this information and be able to learn, or choose what to accept and not to accept. And the person said that, yes, we have to train our kids to be able to, receive the information and separate them and say, this is rubbish, this makes sense. Otherwise, there's no point in just blocking the internet, preventing them from being exposed to the world, because we see today we are bombarded by information 24/7. There's no way we can, if we just shut down, TV, mobile phone and everything, our neighbor will come with some piece of news for us. And it may be true, it may be not, it may be his perception of the fact. So we are constantly exposed to all sorts of information. And the important thing is for us to be able to know what is true and what is not. And it's the same with the spirits. We are exposed to all sorts of spirits. But of course, we need to learn what to accept, in which conditions they come, what are their intentions. And that's why the mediums book is so important. And this chapter in particular, and the next one as well.
It's like building our knowledge on the right foundation, having the right compass in which to navigate life.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, Liz. 302. While awaiting unification, each one believes he or she possesses the sole truth, a delusion that deceptive spirits never cease to exploit. Upon what can impartial and disinterested individuals base their judgment? It's a very interesting question. The purest light cannot be obscured by any clouds. The flawless diamond is the most valuable. Therefore, judge spirits by the purity of their teachings. There will be unity where good has never mixed with evil. This is very important. We've mentioned many times when a medium receives a message, be it a written message, spoken message from a spirit, the message may be 99% beautiful and just stressing the things we already know and giving it the appearance of, the truth and so on. But there is one tiny thing in the middle of all this that contradicts what we know, that doesn't make sense, doesn't fit. We shouldn't play a blind eye to that, because that is actually telling us, that it's not what we believe it to be. That's why the answer here says, judge spirits by the purity of their teachings. There will be unity where good has never mixed with evil. If there's a trace of evil in the message, forget the rest. As Kardec said, it's better to reject 99 truths than accept one falsehood, because the damage of accepting these falsehoods may be tremendous. Whereas the truth will always come back. No matter how much we deny it, it will come back. If not today, tomorrow. If not, in this way, in that other way. That is where humans will be connected by the very force of the circumstances, for they will realize that is where the truth is to be found. Notice that the fundamental principles are the same everywhere, and they must unite you in one common thought, the love of God and the practice of goodness. So basically, it summarizes every message where you find this content, the love of God and the practice of goodness. You have, an indication that the message comes from, a more evolved spirit. No matter what path of progress is intended for souls, the final objective is the same, as well as the means to reach it, practicing goodness. Again, if a message contradicts that principle, so it's better to reject it than to accept. So with that in mind, it becomes slightly easier. I won't say it becomes easy. It's slightly easier now to look at the message and see what it's encouraging us to do. If it is actually encouraging us to practice goodness and to love God, or, something different. There are not two different ways of doing so. If crucial differences arise regarding the very foundation of the doctrine, you have a sure rule for appraising them. That rule is this: the best doctrine is the one that best satisfies the heart and the reason, and has the most resources for leading men and women towards righteousness. I can assuredly tell you that is the one which shall prevail, the spirit truth. So basically, we have now this important element when looking at messages, if we are in doubt or what the spirits are saying to us. First thing to do is to check whatever they are saying, they are against this basic rule here, to lead us towards righteousness. This is the thing. And then Kardec comments, the following causes can give rise to contradictions in spirit communications. So he puts them now here, which are the causes that give rise to these contradictions. The ignorance of certain spirits, they don't know everything. They are really ignorant, but they want to give their opinion. And some of us, because it comes from a spirit through a medium, it's true. Well, we know that it's not necessary. The cunning of little evolved spirits who out of malice or evil state the opposite of what was said by some other spirit, whose name they have usurped. Spirits who we know, they are little evolved, they want to trick us, they take up, a known name, and then they say a lot of things, under this guise, and, it may lead to contradiction or deception. The will of the spirit itself, who speaks according to time, place, or persons, and who may deem it proper not to say everything to everybody. So what Kardec is saying is one of the reasons for this contradiction is that it may not be a spirit with a negative evil intention, or a little evolved spirits, but the spirits just delivers to the group what is necessary at that moment, limited to their condition, their situation, or even their condition to understand the real meaning of what the spirit is saying. So the answer is not complete. It's always in a way to be understood by those who are present at the meeting. And that's why sometimes they say, oh, the same spirit said something that seems different in another group, another time, or whatever. And these contradictions come from this. We've seen that already before. So Kardec is just summarizing them here, listing them. Yeah. So, and also the spirits will evaluate if they can say, what they cannot say to a particular group at a particular moment. The insufficiency of human language for expressing the matter of the incorporeal worlds. Yeah, do we have vocabulary to talk about things in the spiritual world that we don't know exist? So our vocabulary here is very limited. And for us to be able to understand, we need to grow intellectually and morally. You see, from Jesus to Spiritism, to Kardec, was nearly a 2,000-year gap. Why was that? Because we needed to naturally evolve, a natural process of evolution, so that we be able to better appreciate and understand what the spirits were bringing to us. Were there spirits capable of bringing the same information that we find now in the Spiritist books in Jesus' days? Yes, they could. Why didn't they? Well, people wouldn't understand a thing. They couldn't understand things related to their physical life, let alone things from the spiritual world. So this gap was necessary for us to evolve. And it's interesting to see that our intellectual development, it grows at sort of steady pace, because we study the environment, we learn from the physical world, and then our thoughts evolve. And we see that we have developed into intellectual terms constantly. We've been doing that, but morally, it's something different. It requires all this information that spirits brought to us, and they brought to us not to help us develop intellectually. We are, doing well in regard to that. We are discovering so many things. We are doing very well. And the way we think the world today is different from, people from 200, 400, 1,000 years ago. Because, we are developing as spirits, not only as humans, but as spirits. But morally, it's something different. So we have to make a different effort. It's not studying nature around us, for most of us, that we develop this moral sense. And I want to, make an explanation here, because Kardec uses morality a lot of, times here, but it's not for us to understand in the sense that people used to understand in Kardec's days or in Victorian times, a set of rules that you have to follow in order to be accepted in society and to pretend to be something or someone you are not. No, it's actually this natural manifestation of the spirits according to the divine laws. So the divine laws are waiting dormant to be able to be developed, to unfold in us. And for that to happen, it's not just a question of waiting for time to go by. It requires effort from us. That's why the spirits have all this trouble to come and from time to time nourish us with this higher perception of life, higher moral standards, or, in the same way that Kardec uses a lot the word punishment. God punishes, punishment for this and for that. And we know that there is not such a thing as punishment, according to the Spiritist view. Kardec uses punishment because it's the words that in those days would better express the results that come when we do something wrong. We are punished. But we are punished not by someone else or by God. No, this punishment is actually the result, the consequences that we reap from our acts. Well, if I break something, I have to mend that. And to mend that seems to be a punishment, but it's not. And what led me to, break that, I also have to change my behavior. I have to do it differently. So to avoid breaking things along the way, if you know what I mean. And it can be a punishment. It's like the student who didn't do well during the school year, he has to repeat it. Is it a punishment? No. It is a requirement for him to learn and carry on studying. It's the same for us. So the word punishment and the word moral shouldn't be taken in the same sense that, it was used in Kardec's days, something very strict, in terms of moral or punishment, something like God imposes on us. And no, it should be seen as he couldn't break free from the vocabulary that it was used, because with those words came also certain ideas of consequences, of spiritual development. So he needed to use the word moral, the word punishment for people to understand. Whereas nowadays we have a different perception of these two words. Hi, Osali.
Morning, people. Hello, good morning, Munir. Think about this, the first, the 302, and I think about this note, the note of Allan Kardec. And, I'm thinking, I think there is many way to explain some there is many way to explain the same thing. And I think this is more mystification or this problem. So do learn now and explain to us. I think it is because our state here in the earth yet. But I think I scream here, I think whenever we are more advanced the way of our self acknowledge to know I know better me, myself. I think so, as soon disappear this type of things here. So you explain very well now to us, because I think when we think so when we don't have we only we don't have a mistake. Why can we know we are in the good way? So the mistake is not some, it's like we need the and now, but I think it is I think it disappear as soon. Many kind of religion, and its name is not philosophy, curious philosophy. This disappear as soon, because then we are more advanced. Then grow up. We grow our understand and our moral. I think so. I don't know if I can set good, because I'm not
Yes,
good
indeed,
so in
you're right.
English.
You were right. It will disappear, Elsie. But we need to go through this process until we become that specialist in gemstone, borrowing the example from the spirit truth there in the message. Until we
Yes,
become,
we need.
yeah. One day we'll be specialists, but until we get there, we have to go through this process of, learning, and we have to be exposed to deceptive spirits. They are everywhere. It's like, growing raising your kids and saying, no, you can't be exposed to, people like this or like that. No, we can prevent them from meeting all sorts of people along their life. They have to be prepared for that. And that's what is the spirits are trying to do here in this part of the medium's book, to prepare us to be able to, differentiate things. But of course, we need to see sometimes that there are subtleties that we need to reach a point in our personal development to be able to, see one thing and the other. But that's why we're here. We're here for that. And because we have eternity, we are, immortal. And this is something important. Immortality and reincarnation. Without that, all these will fall to the ground, wouldn't make much sense. Because, well, it's a constant learning process. And we'll come back to a physical body as many times as necessary, in different conditions, according to the next step in our, development, what we need, and believing that we are very well supervised. And, well, let's do it. Let me see where I stop here. Communications, okay, enable spirits, all right. And finally, the interpretation that each individual may give to a word or explanation according to his or her own ideas, preconceptions, or point of view regarding the subjects. So we see that Kardec was very nice, and he listed all the important aspects here that or causes that can lead to contradiction. Only study, observation, experience, and the absence of all vanity can teach us how to distinguish these various elements. This is very important. Study, observation, experience, in the absence of all vanity. Because sometimes say, I accept 100% of what this spirit is saying because it's so and so, and it's through me. So basically the medium believes him or her to be this wonderful person because this apparently elevated spirit is communicating through him or her. Well, we are already doing something that, goes against what Kardec is saying here to us. And it's important to study. Borrowing again the example of gemstone is not a gift given to a person. It's something that is acquired through effort, through a learning process, through repetition, doing things so many times over and over again until the day that we master it. So to believe that we are exempt from study, from work, from observation, and even from the experience, well, it's a mistake. Okay. And now comes the item here, deceptions. 303. If being mistaken is unpleasant, it is even worse being deceived. I believe no one likes that. Moreover, it is an inconvenience from which we can easily protect ourselves. The means for exposing the traps set by deceptive spirits have been set forth in previous instructions. And that is why we will say but little here regarding the matter. Following are what the spirits have said about it. 1. Deceptions are one of the most disagreeable stumbling blocks of practical spiritism. Is there any way to avoid them? It seems to me that you can find your answer by referring to what you have already learned. Yes, there is, of course, a very simple method, which is not to ask of Spiritism anything more than what it can and must give you. Its goal is the moral perfection of humankind. Full stop. Spiritism is not here to teach us about science. It's not here to teach us how to become rich, how to live a trouble-free life, and how to become, famous, etc. No. It's here for the sole purpose of helping us in our moral betterment, becoming perfect. If any message, any spirit, any book, whatever, any teaching, lecture, whatever, teaches something different from that, we should, be a little suspicious, because the answer here is adamant, is for our moral progress or perfection. As long as you hold to this, you will never be deceived, because there are not two different ways of understanding moral truth, but rather only that one which every man and woman of common sense can accept. Well, but Jesus said, give the other side, and the Spirit comes and says something different. Of course, putting things into the right context, what he meant by that, not seeking revenge, not, returning at the same level of what you have received, because basically you are putting yourself at an equal standard. What he's saying is that, your answer should be different, totally different from the aggression, not that same aggression. So if a spirit comes and says, no, we should do, something even worse than that, return something even worse. So we, look at that and say, well, is it, according to the moral standards that we know, or is it going against the moral standards? So it is a way for us to prevent us, or try to prevent us from being deceived by any spirit through messages. I'm not saying it's easy. It requires a lot from us. It requires a study, observation, persistence, and to put our vanity, our imperfections aside as much as we can, so that we, can evaluate the situation in a more favorable condition. The spirits have come to teach you and guide you along the path of morality, and not the path of fame and fortune, or to attend to your petty passions. This is the thing, Some people, they go to see a medium because they want to know if they're going to marry A or B, if their business will be successful, if they'll be rich, if this, if that. Always related to material, momentary things. Whereas the important thing here is to look at the moral side of the faculty and the communication with the spirits. And when we do that, we go and try to, or use mediumship to decide regarding material things for us here on earth. So basically we're waiting an opportunity and open, giving away to deceptive spirits, because we know that good enlightened spirits won't come here to spare the work that we need to do in material terms. What they'll come here is to help us in moral terms. And when we say moral terms, is regarding our present life, and most especially regarding our physical life, because what we do here, what we came to do here, and the results of what we do here will affect us in the spirit world. We are here because of our condition in the spirit world. It was worse in the past, and when we return to the spirit world, we want it to be better. Like a student goes to a course to learn something and come back more skillful than he or she was before going there. So if he goes there and does not do a good business. Can you imagine, you want to go to university, you want to do a degree on something, you want it so much, and then you have the opportunity. You manage to get a scholarship. And then you go to the universities, you don't go to the lectures, you ask your friends to do the homework for you, you cheat during the exams. What are you doing there? What are you doing with this opportunity? So the person has to have, an eye in the future and say, well, what I'm doing here will affect my profession in the future. Maybe that building will collapse because I didn't learn this part of the subject very well. I missed the lecture. I cheated in the exam. So we always need to think. And for us, in spiritual terms, our life here is part of a much bigger project for us, personal projects, and in terms of our spiritual family as well, because we are part of a spiritual family, that we need to pay attention now while we're here, knowing that there are consequences in the future, and the consequences are much more related to the moral aspect of our life, the spiritual aspect of our life, than the material aspect of our life. Yes, we need to survive. We need to work. It is something that, it's imperative. Otherwise, we won't survive, not even physically. It's part of us. And to reap the material results of our efforts, honest efforts, yes, perfectly fine. And to have more than we need, well, fine. If we use that to help other people as well, not just me all the time, I go to the supermarket and I see that lovely jam that I want, and it's so expensive. It's on sale, and I go because I have money. I buy all of them and don't give other people the chance of buying one jar at a special price, the special discount, because I can buy everything. I'll take everything for me. So this is the type of thing we should, look at. And if we are allowed to have a very nice, favorable wealth condition here on earth, this is not also by chance. It is an opportunity that we have also to help other people, because this act of helping, materially speaking, spiritually speaking, being a good friend, being a good family member, is helping us in spiritual terms. Hi, Denise.
Hi, maybe that's the example, but what you were talking about came to my mind was the toilet paper during COVID, that everyone went and started buying to themselves. And the problem was caused by it. If everyone had just followed buying the normal one, there would be no problem. Everyone would be able to, I don't know if people that are outside the UK, but during the COVID, there was a panic about running out of toilet paper. So everyone started going and buying like trolleys full of them. And that's what caused the problem. So the problem was the human selfishness, as you were saying, me,
Yeah.
let me guarantee for me. But by doing that, they caused the issue. Yeah, sorry. Just, I know that's a silly example, but it was so clear, I think, for me during that side of the COVID, just thinking about themselves and causing the problem.
Yeah, we see that a lot, Sometimes it doesn't strike the eye because it's something that, is disguised in different ways. But yes, we do that a lot, We think of, us first. Yes, we have to consider our situation, but we should see also other people just as equals, And would I like to go to the supermarket and see that the person is taking all the, the jam that I want so much. I just want one single. And you see the trolley full of, jars, and that person is taking everything for him or for her. Perhaps will die before eating all of that, using all the, and other people deprived. This is a very, very, simple example just to show what we do in our daily life, because if I have too much, and we know resources are limited in this world, other people lack. Not that I shouldn't try to, reap the results of my efforts, because I work hard, I studied hard, I have a good profession, I earn a lot of money. But why would I constantly prevent people from doing slightly better because I'm greedy? No. No, I want to buy this. No, I want to take that company for me. No, see, So you want always for you, just accumulate for you in your tiny group sometimes, you know.
I think
And
the word come, yeah, sorry, Munir, the word that come to me is moderation, that human hasn't applied that word, moderation. I think in the Bible, in the gospel, there is something about that. The man that he fills up his barn with all the product, and that like end up rotten, or he end up dying the following day. So there's, yeah, it's good to keep there for it to survive the winter, for your necessity, but anything that goes over the moderation and what really needed becomes superfluous, and that's when you are taking from someone else.
Yeah, and it's also regarding our time, our attention, our ears, to give our ears to, you know, lend one of our ears to someone in need who just needs someone to listen to them, to pay attention to them, to give them, you know, in so many different aspects. It's not just regarding money or, you know, these direct material elements, but, you know, in our behavior, to see that what pattern are we adopting. Hi, Osili.
True. I'm thinking about that study of the spiritism. All 5 books. We have a very, very good study, but not only read it. No, not only read it, but you study book. So we have a very, very good base to, because I understood the news, I understood you. We have some problem here in Sweden. Munir, you was wonderful when you explained this. But I think that when we are in spiritism long time ago, so many times, no, I don't need this, so I already know this one. So, but many things in our book, we must very, I think, study in a study group or study with alone. We are not alone, never. So study this one and try. We must try. This is not no critic. No criticize. No. It's only, I think, try. We must try to live and live what we learned about, and because I forgot the name of the word, and our comportment, behavior, our behavior can people see that, and when people so maybe would like need this, then the spirit is always good spirits. Then the spirits of another people, so maybe you're at a meet me in their time, that's time, because my behavior can be one answer to something he needs, she needs, or the situation needs. This why we meet many people per day, not only our family, because we can very, very well can help us children. First us children, when we help another one with our behavior or with some words or something. This is not anything, is not criticize, it's not saying, oh, you must, no, no, this way, but only our behavior. And thank you very much. I would like to say, because I think it's about all this we learned today, because we don't want to mystify around this problem. So
Yeah, you said something very important. because these lessons are not for other people. Oh, well, Soli, you have to change. You have to become a better person now. Oh, you, Denise, or, no, it's for me. Me, I have to change. I have to work hard. And as I change, and as you change, as the other person changes, the world will start changing. Because we talk so much about, going into a regenerating world, the earth will get into a happier phase in its process of evolution and so on. But it's not someone who will come and say, today, things are different. No. As we decide to change ourselves, each one individual is an individual work. I will change. So my role in society will change. Sometimes we're afraid to say, well, but I'll look foolish. People will say, oh, you are the only one who is nice with people. Well, today I'm the only one. Tomorrow there will be someone else. And then, because what is in the natural laws, what is in the moral laws, divine laws, they will sooner or later become the common behavior of people. And as we know, we are moving, progressing. So things are like this today. They won't be like that tomorrow. I'll find a resistance for change today. Yes, I will. But tomorrow, things will be different and say, wow, look, who could ever imagine that, we would get to this situation? So if we want a better world, we have to start by turning ourselves into better human beings. Hi, Camila.
About this line, right? Because for me, it always was hard. It's still hard to this fault. I feel a lot of guilt sometimes. Like we will want to buy something, we are being mean because you want something, right? And you are not. We know that. At least I know that I have more than a lot of people in the world because the world is a very sad place, right? A lot of people doesn't have food, doesn't have a house, it doesn't have the minimal base things for the necessities. Then I started to think maybe I'm wrong, right? But everything is a resource, right? The money is something that we human beings created as a resource of something, right? Before I have sheep, so I don't know, I have some animals I would exchange for other animals that I want to eat and something like that. The water is a resource, the food is a resource, the money is a resource. Then sometimes I think, based in the teachings, everything that we have is a lesson, right? It's something for we learn. Then I try to think, if I have some kind of more resource of the others, my duty maybe be use that in a wise way, learn how to use that in a wise way. Like for example, food, right? I have money to go there and buy a lot of food, but I don't eat everything, all your house, right? Do I really need do that? Should I not be more conscious about the food that I'm buying, right? The animals that it dies for give their energy for us, the life for us. Or I don't know, the money the same thing. I don't have money to help someone of my family to be sick, right? Because I need to go in the doctor, it's very poor person. But I go there and to buy a very expensive bag that I could buy a less expensive one, right? Maybe I'm not greedy. Maybe I'm really managing my resource in the best way. Right? That is the kind of
I know what you mean, yeah. But look, if you earn your money honestly, you can spend it in things that you like, no problem in that. And if you're wrong, but do with good intention, say, oh, I like so much, but it's expensive, but I can afford it. Well, okay, that's fine. If tomorrow you change and say, no, I won't spend my money on expensive things because I don't see the meaning, I can buy a cheaper one and we'll do the job the same way and I'm fine with that. Okay, fine. What we can bear is just a guilty conscience thinking, oh, but I have a roof under my head, but there are so many people who don't, so I'll live, outside or become homeless. No, 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 no. We have to value what we have. If we have an opportunity in life to have a comfortable life, fine. But what are we making of this opportunity? You see, are we making good use of this opportunity, or becoming a nasty person, or someone who uses his money, his position, just to create problem for other people instead of? No, if we earn things honestly, even if we are making a mistake, we are allowed to. There isn't such a thing as someone just waiting for us to make a mistake and come and whip us. No, there isn't such a thing. We are allowed to make mistakes. We are imperfect beings. None of us here. We are we are further away from perfection than from complete imperfection from the beginning. No, so we are allowed to make mistakes. It's our learning process, but we have to be to have this awareness. Today you say, I like to eat in very expensive restaurants. And sometimes I see these kids in the streets, oh, I feel so guilty. Well, but if you like that, that's fine. You allow yourself to go to these restaurants. There'll come a moment, if that is not correct, there'll come a moment when you think, no, I don't think it's worth going there. I think I'm, spending too much money. And in the end, it's just foods. I can get nice food from other, and I can perhaps, So it's up to each individual. We can't just point our fingers at people and saying, you have all this money and you spend this money with this or that. No, each one will have the moment of awakening and giving the right value to things. It will come inevitably. It's part of this process. But sometimes, as it says here, we have to be exposed or experience certain things for us to be convinced that those things are not as nice as we thought they were. It's part of that, And it is we need just to develop this awareness of things. And perhaps today we make so many mistakes thinking that we are doing the right thing. And how will I know that? Will I feel guilty in the future because, oh, look, no. That was my experience. I was so blind, So it is part of our process of learning and growing. Hi, Liz.
Hi, guys. I agree with you, Moni, and I think also that throughout our lives, we need to reflect and meditate on the value of things, the value that we are putting on things and certain experiences, to connect with the value that we have as people. Personally, I am in a journey to understand my value, my personal value. Because yes, we can have expensive stuff, we can have a beautiful house, and some of us expect those things to give a value that we must have from within us, inside. But it is not that, isn't it? Where does your true happiness and value lies? It's not on material things. But we have to go through things. We have to experience things to be able to understand. So, okay. And also, I'm not saying that we have to experience every single thing, good and bad. That is not it. Because also, if we understand that the pain of our brother or sister can also teach us how some things can be in life, that is a testament. It is a testing that we are ready to learn with every single thing that is around us as well. And we don't have to go through that hardship, through that painful moment, but we can see how much it is affecting people around us. So yeah, what is the value that we are giving to things? I think that is where the root of the problem for some of us lie.
Yeah. And I would say that the most urgent thing is for us not to hurt people intentionally, directly, creating problems for people. But in our daily life, yes, we make mistakes, but we should learn from them. This is the important thing. Just to, be paying attention to what we do, the way we do things, and naturally they will go away. As we learn more, as we receive all these teachings, that's why I'm so grateful for being a spiritist in this incarnation, because slowly we observe these teachings. I may read 100 times the Spirit's book, the Medium's book, the Gospel, and so on, but only slowly that will sink in and I'll understand and I'll put that into practice. I'll just briefly take an example. I used to go out with friends and drink alcohol and got drunk a couple of times when I was young, but naturally today I don't feel the need to do that anymore. There's no point. Naturally that we went away from me. It wasn't imposed by someone, was something that I did. I said, no, I'll stop drinking, but I craved for that. No, something that naturally went away because in me I've balanced things and said, no, there's no need for that anymore. And it happens in all aspects of life. What is not natural will go away. But things that we can choose today. Well, will I, gossip about that person today and create a problem just because I don't like that person? Or will I prevent myself from doing that? Just shut my mouth and not say anything, regarding that person. In this case, I have a choice, clear choice, and my conscience will tell me what is right to do. Don't do that. You wouldn't like them doing the same regarding you and your personal life and so on. So we don't do that. We have the choice. But there are things that we do, naturally, that perhaps tomorrow we'll look back and say, yeah, I was so wrong. But, well, that's part of life. That's how we learn. You see? We can't just say, no, I'll give all my money and live in the streets. No, there's no point in doing that. You become a problem to other people. So we have to be reasonable. And what is not to come for us in this life will not come. We have plans. There are things that no matter how hard we try, if it's not for our benefit, it won't come to us. You divert from us in all possible ways. And we get frustrated, we get, no. We should believe, think that, we have lessons. And for us to succeed, perhaps in a more important lesson in the future, we have to, master this little one. Preparing ourselves. We are constantly preparing ourselves for something better. But to do a good job, to appreciate, we need to, get there slowly. We don't jump from kindergarten to university. We have to go step by step. We don't become the CEO of a company on the first day. We have to enter from the back door, and then slowly we conquer that position. And it's the same thing in life. Slowly we will get there. Okay. Hi, Liz.
Sorry, I'll be very quick because of the time. No, there is something that is always in my head with many, many ways. Jesus once said that if you're good in the small things, when the big things come, you know what to do. You are going to be good on them as well. So let's just see the smaller things. They are very valuable for us.
Indeed, indeed. Thanks, Liz. Okay, that's it for today. I'll stop recording.